nakapagtaka ko, bakit po sumipa ng 110 to 130 pesos per liter? Tinanggap na lang natin ang ganun. What happened?
Mr. Chair, we will recheck the data and will if we can get the data from the good senator also. But
Di nga po, nasa akin na po eh.
yes, Mr. Chair, we have checked also on that, Mr. Chair.
Paano po natin siya eh?
Okay, sabihin natin sa 110 million Filipinos, DOE Secretary, the worst case is the country will run dry. Kung ganyan po ang sinasabi ng Department of Energy, hindi pa ba yan krisis? Ayaw pa ba talagang yugyugin ang mga utak ng mga tao sa gobyerno para tanggapin na tayo'y nasa isang krisis?
Eto na mga boss, kakapasok lang na balita. Grabe si PBBM, nag-warning na. Binulgar ng sabwatang Marcoleta at Ligarda. Nayanig dito ang Senado, nahuli ng sabwata ng dalawa. Base sa impormasyong kumakalat ngayon sa social media, parang iginaganti ni Ligarda si Libiste sa mga cabinet members matapos pahiyain ni Jose Cler Castro ang anak niya. Binabanatan kasi si Libiste ng Marcos administration, tapos iniimbestigan pa si Libiste ni Garin. Kaya pinahiya ni Ligarda ang executive na kisawsaw pa si Rodante Marcoleta. Pinahiya niya din sa Senado si Secretary Garin para makaganti sa mga banat sa kanya ni Jose Cler Castro. Bistado iisa ang plano, huli ang paghihiganti kay PBBM ng dalawa. Kaya ito sabay-sabay nating panoorin kung paano si President BBM grabe nag-warning na. Binulgar ng sabwatang Senador Rodante Marcoleta at Senador Loren Legarda. Nayanig dito ang Senado, nahuli na sabwatan ng dalawa. Tara, panoorin natin to.
Sa DOE lang po. Mr. Chair, siya ngayon po ang presyo ng diesel is 120.95 average po from 55 pesos pre-crisis level. Ibig sabihin tumaas po ng 120%. Bakit po kaya?
Mr. Chair, the increase is basically because we are an importing country. We don't have any refinery. We don't have indigenous resources. Or very, very minute lang. And if Mr. Chair, if you allow me, our fuel, our pump price, more or less, ang fuel cost niyan is about more than half, mga 50+%. Tapos meron kang logistics, ang margin ng companies, pero our tax is about 25%, Mr. Chair.
Hindi, alam po natin yun, ma'am. Ang tinatanong ko, bakit po 120% ang itinaas? Ano po ang explanation?
Mr. Chair, the upward push is because of the cost, the price of fuel, Mr. Chair, and because there's a increase in price of fuel, and then there's uncertainty in the infrastructure of the oil industry internationally. Yung logistics tumaas, tapos yung insurance tumaas na rin kasi natatakot na rin silang magpagamit ng vessel nila or crossing that traversing, no? So tumaas lahat. That's a component, all the logistics, insurance, mga lahat po, Mr. Chair.
Did the government initiate an inquiry, for example, from the players, oil players, kung yung 120% is reasonable?
Mr. Chair, we have talked to the oil companies and we constantly monitor their prices and also the international prices and also all the trend on the logistics and insurance. Tumataas talaga and it within range naman yung increase ng pump prices natin, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, ang ibig ko sabihin, nung sinabi po nila na talagang ganito ang itataas, 120%, did we take their statement as gospel truth right away?
Mr. Chair, how it is it's a deregulated industry. So ang monitoring ng DOE lang yung ginagawa niya on checking what their prices as. Yes, sir. It is within the range na kinakalculate din ng DOE, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, kasi po, ang alam ko, ang pinakamalaking refineries sa buong mundo, yung Rotterdam refineries. At meron po yan mga tangke na nakabalagbag sa Singapore. Marami po yan. Pati Petronas po, the second largest in the world. May mga tangke po siya sa Singapore. Nag-check po kasi ako, Mr. Chair. Halimbawa po, yung sa Rotterdam Refinery, kung halimbawa FOB price po, $570 per metric ton. Ang isang metric ton po is 1,180 liters. So kinuwento ko po yon, kasama na po yung itinatawag silang MAPS, yung means of Platts Singapore, which is $1.71. Yung 15 po, ito yung transport, ano? I-multiply natin ng 60 pesos, ito po yung peso to $1 at dinivide ko ng 1,180 para po makuha natin yung landed cost. Alam po niyo, it's only $29 at 29 pesos 83 centavos. Kapag sinama po natin, kahit hindi natin alisin ang excise, VAT, may importation, distribution, storage, broker fees, SGS survey, 2% CME, ito po yung coconut methyl, at saka VAT differential, which is actually 15 pesos and 51 cents. 45 pesos lang po yun eh. So, ang sinasabi ko po, Mr. Chair, bakit hindi po tayo, kasi po narinig ko, sinasabi nyo kanina, nakipag-usap kayo sa South Korea, nakipag-usap kayo sa China, nakipag-usap kayo sa Japan. Bakit hindi po ang gawin ng PNOC, direkta po tayong pumunta, magitan ng vessel natin, magpakarga tayo sa Singapore. O hindi po dadaan nyo ng Strait of Hormuz.
Mr. Chair, yun po yung ginagawa ng PNOC. We are actually directly contacting possible suppliers in the US, South America, and North America. Lahat po, in-explore naman yan eh. But on average talaga na, ang gusto namin mag-diversify para hindi lang galing dito sa Middle East yung source natin. Ano? Pero ang isang issue din na why there's a limitation on the US source or on the other side, medyo 30-45 days kasi yung delivery. So may mga logistical but based on what are the offers to us, kasi fina-farm out yun yung offer ng PNOC, ang mga presyo, Mr. Chair, abot ng mga $200 per barrel. Eh.
Madabag sinasabi ko po, ay yung mga tangke na nandun sa Singapore. Dalawang malalaking refinery sa mundo, Rotterdam Refinery at saka yung Petronas ng Malaysia. Pareho po silang may tangke. Kapag ka po ang pinag-usapan natin, yung Petronas Malaysia Refinery, yun po CIF, hindi POB. Kaya $640 per metric ton. Alam po niyo yung kwenta ko ron, 32 pesos and 63 centavos. Isama natin po yung additional cost. Huwag na po nating ialisin ang excise, VAT, and so on and so forth. 15.51, ang magiging presyo, mahal lang ng konti, 48 pesos per liter. Bakit po sinasabi natin, kinakausap natin ang Amerika o sa Caribbean, kung ano man yung gusto nyo kausapin, South Korea, or ang sinasabi ko po, nasa Singapore po yung mga tangke. Pwede po nating i-dispatch ang diesel natin, diesel tank transaction lang po pinag-uusapan natin eh. Nakapagtanong po ako sa kaibigan sa mga industry sa Singapore, kaya ko po nakakuha itong ganitong mga data, kaya po tinatanong ko sa inyo, paano po nangyari? Ang sabi ng Pangulo 2 weeks ago, meron po tayong about 50 to 60 days. 2 weeks lang po nangyari. Meron po tayong stock. Bakit sumipa po ng 120%? Yun po yung tinatanong ko. Nag-react po lahat ang ating mga sektor, agriculture, transport, lahat na po. Kaya nga po yung 230 billion na sinasabi ng ng DBM, na gano'n na eh. Ang tinatanong ko lang po, bakit po tayo napunta sa 120% kagad? Bakit naging 110, 120 pesos ang average po ng liter ng diesel? At yung po namang gasolina, 62%. Bakit hindi po natin tinanong man lang, bakit po nagkaganon? Akala ko po ba tinitingnan natin? Ano po ba yung explanation dito?
Mr. Chair, ang presyo talaga ng international nag-increase eh. And we will check the vessels na mini-mention ni Senator Marcoleta. But based on sa mga information na nakuha namin sa mga nag-o-offer sa PNOC and also from our oil companies, may malaking increase talaga both on diesel and gasoline at 101%. Tama ba to? Ang increase niya for the past 3 weeks, 101% and 182% for diesel. But we'll check for the other sources, Mr. Chair, kung baka iba yung arrangements nila, Mr. Chair.
Sir, hindi ko po alam kung saan nila kinukuha yung gasolina. Baka ang pinag-uusapan po natin, ang gagaling ba lahat sa Persian Gulf? Hindi po yun ang usapan eh. Kahit na isara po yung Strait of Hormuz, ang pinag-uusapan is Persian Gulf. Sabi nga nila 20% ang apektado. Paano po yung Suez Canal? Bukas naman po yun. Pero wag na po natin pag-usapan yun. Ang sinasabi ko po ay yung mga tangke na nakapondo sa Singapore. Napakarami po niyan. Petronas Refinery at saka yung pong Rotterdam Refinery. Bakit wala mo pong makapag-explika sa DOE? Bakit hindi po tayo doon dumiretso?
Mr. Chair, ang Singapore kasi trading yan eh. And then those mga nakalutang lang ng mga barko dyan, yun po yung mga binibenta ng mga traders tsaka yung mga refineries po. So ganun po yung presyo pa rin na offer po sa amin ng mga traders. We've talked to several already international traders na dumadaan ng Singapore. And same pa rin yung presyo na binibigay sa amin. But we'll recheck, Mr. Chair.
I am sorry, Mr. Chair, pero yung mga data nasa akin po eh. Kasi-check ko lang po kagabi. Sa totoo lang. Kagabi po ay 495 pa nga po eh. Per metric ton. Idagdag po natin ang shipping na $15. At saka yung 1.71. Ito nga po yung yung gross margin po eh. 8 pesos and 46 centavos. May margin pa nga po eh. Dito po sa Rotterdam Refinery, ang margin is 4 pesos and 64 cents. Pagka sa Petronas naman po, ayun, halos may konti pa rin kita. 1 peso and 85 cents. Pero hindi, nakakapagtaka, bakit po sumipa ng 110 to 130 pesos per liter? Bibigay ko po sa inyo yung data na nakuha ko. Nagtanong lang po ako sa mga kaibigan sa industry sa Singapore. Kabisado po nila ito eh. Bibigyan ko po kayo ng isang... ang tinatanong ko po, bakit nagsimula tayo na tinanggap natin kagad na 110 pesos to 130 pesos ng upo ngayon ng ano, ang average nga 120 pesos na ang diesel, tinanggap na lang natin ang ganon. What happened? Wala po bang halimbawa, Secretary Balisacan, wala po ba tayong kakilala halimbawa mga industries sa Singapore? Nandun po lahat yung kanilang mga tangke. Pwede po nating makita, kahit kayo po, tanong ninyo kung magkano ngayon. Nahawak ko po yung mga data eh. 29 pesos and 83 cents. Rotterdam Refinery tanks based in Singapore. Petronas 32 pesos and 63 centavos. May kita pa po eh. Paano po nangyari biglang sumipa ng 110 from 55 pesos for example, naging 110. Kaya po nagkaroon po tayo ng crisis. Parang imagine po yung crisis. Ang tinatanong ko po sa DOE, meron po bang nagkaroon po ba tayo ng inquiry? Pinatawag po ba natin ang mga oil companies?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, we've been meeting with the oil company several times. Ang presyo, sinusundan yung maps. And then ang the rest, Mr. Chair, umi-increase yung yung logistics tsaka yung insurance, pero yung premium po, Mr. Chair, for you to be able to purchase a supply, dati po mga $5 to $10 lang yan, ngayon po mga $60 na. So umaakyat talaga lahat, Mr. Chair.
Ang sinasabi po ninyo, Madam Secretary, Mr. Chair, ay yung pong panganib na dadaan po kayo sa Strait of Hormuz. Ang pupuntahan po natin Singapore, ang layo naman po sa Strait of Hormuz noon eh. Nagkakaintindihan po ba tayo?
Yes, Mr. Chair. No, it's not a straight Hormuz na ano. We are just getting products also from Singapore and all Southeast Asian countries, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, ang aking gustong i-discuss, at alam ko ito po ang naintindihan naman ng DOE. Ito po dahil sa sinasabi natin may crisis na, tank to vessel procedure na po ang pinag-uusapan natin. Yung ating pong, ang ating vessel, siya na po yung lalapit doon sa tangke sa Singapore. Hindi po ba nyo alam mga procedures? Nasa akin yung procedures, nakuha ko kung paano po natin mapapadali ito eh. Ayun po yung FOB price, $570 per metric tons. Rotterdam Refinery, tanks based in Singapore. Yung Petronas naman po, 640 dahil hindi FOB yun, CIF. Kukwentahin po natin lahat ang mga local add-on, kagaya po na sinasabi ninyo, 15 pesos, 51 centavos lang per liter yun. Kahit idagdag po ninyo yun, sa 55 pesos, may kita pa po eh. Kaya tinatanong ko po, paano po tayo napunta sa 110?
Mr. Chair, we will recheck the data and will if we can get the data from the good senator also. But ang lahat po na orders, halos marami po na orders, gumagaling talaga ng Singapore kasi yun isa sa mga pinakamalaking trading company. But in our computations, talagang ganun po yung presyo. Kasi kahit kunin mo doon, mahihirapan ka rin maghanap ng sarili mong vessel kasi nag-aagawan ngayon. And then the vessel is more expensive now. The premium of the insurance is really, really very expensive. And there's a premium for you to be able to buy, which is from $5 became $60. So lahat po na component nandiyan yan. Hindi po ganun kadali na papadala lang ng vessel because we don't have any vessels actually to send to them because it's very difficult now. Pero Mr. Chair, I'll direct our team that are doing the purchasing and check the Rotterdam supply in Singapore, Mr. Chair.
Sir Chair, sino po ba nagsabing napakahirap pumanap ng vessel? Sino po nagsabi sa inyo? Sino nag-advise sa inyo? Napakahirap pumanap ng vessel para kumuha ng supply sa mga tangke sa
Mr. Chair, marami kasi nagbebenta po sa PNOC na sa atin yung transport and that's the most difficult part that they've been trying to find, Mr. Chair.
Yun po bang mga players natin, ganun din ang kanilang sinasabi sa inyo? I'm not talking about the PNOC. Sa atin po yun eh.
Yes, Mr. Chair. They were the first ones actually that flagged this, Mr. Chair.
Yung ating mga players, sinabi po nila na napakamahal po dun sa Singapore. Did you check? Did you check the FOB price in Singapore as we speak?
Yes, Mr. Chair. We have been checking actually Singapore and all the other countries.
Di nga po, nasa akin na po eh. FOB and CIF, both Petronas and Rotterdam refineries.
Yes, Mr. Chair. We have checked also on that, Mr. Chair.
So pareho po tayo ng presyo.
No, Mr. Chair.
Saan po nyo kinukuha yung presyo ninyo? Ito nga yung sinasabi ko, dapat po nagkaroon ng inquiry man lang. Kung halimbawa, sinabi ng mga players ganito, kaya nga tanong ko po, did we take those as gospel truth? Paano po natin sinek?
Mr. Chair, this is based on also on the maps as we have prescribed how the computations will be and also, Mr. Chair, on the experience of PNOC in
Secretary, ang maps po is only $1.71. Sinasabi ko na po ito eh. Kanina po yung presentation kanina, yung Dubai plots. Hindi po relevant yun because we are not getting something else sa Dubai. Ang sinasabi ko, Singapore lang. I'm trying to direct the conversation to Singapore. Nandun po yung mga tangke ng dalawang refineries. Pwede po ninyong check-in ngayon. Yung sinasabi, kung totoo yung sinasabi ko, hindi.
Second round, so we recognize Senator Marcoleta. And after, yeah.
Mr. Chair, follow-up question lang kay President Nograles. Para hindi ka na umutang, Mr. President, i-recommenda mo sa Secretary ng DOE na yung ating coal plant sa Semirara, wag na nating i-export. Dito natin gamitin at yung mga diesel-fired na mga power plant mo sa mga spag areas, unti-unti ipagamit mo yung Semirara coal. Mura kasi yun eh. Kesa dun sa diesel. Lalo na ngayon, kung talagang wala nang, kung totoo talaga na walang diesel at mahal na mahal. Kasi po ngayon, Mr. President, Mr. Chair, kung bakit naman meron tayong sariling coal, bakit natin ina-export, ba't di natin gamitin? Ang palagi pong kinakatwiran ng DOE, ito si Yusek Puentebella, mahina daw yung calorific value. Hindi totoo yun. Merong isang gustong bumili. Nagbibigay siya ng kontrata, lahat ng ipoproduce ng Semirara, bibili niya. Kahit nasabihin pa yung low calorific value. Isipin nyo kung anong mangyayari noon. Kung halimbawa coal plants na lahat. Halimbawa sa Mindoro, dalawang electric cooperatives yan eh. Puro diesel. Isipin po ninyo ang universal charge. Mr. President, si Chairman, ako, tayong lahat, si Senator Ligarda, Senator Risa, ala na bang katapusan kaming bayad ng universal charge? Hindi naman namin nagagamit yun eh. Ganun po ang nagiging sistema natin ngayon. Nang dahil sa napakamahal ng gasolina, ay talagang wala na pong katapusan, lalo na po yung spag-areas. Unless, isa po, yung nga sinasabi ko, wag na po nating export yung coal na nanggagaling sa Semirara. Pagkatapos po, pagibayuhin natin na magkaroon na ng transmission. Yung pong matagal ng pangarap na manggagaling po sa Batangas papunta ng Mindoro, hindi po baligtad. Ang ginawa po yata ngayon binaligtad eh. Tama po, hindi. Kamahiya, tama ka muna. So, balik na po ako. Unang sagutin. Balik na po ako kay Secretary Garin. Huwag ka nagtatago, ma'am. Magkaibigan tayo, di ba? Secretary Garin, ito po, presentation po ninyo. Sa ngayon, meron tayong 46 days sa diesel. Ito po yung di po natin nasagot mabuti kanina. Sa gasolina, meron pa po tayong 53 days. Ibig sabihin po ito, inventaryo po pre-crisis. Dahil sabi po ng Pangulo noon, 50 to 60. Tama naman po eh. Kung ito po ay original na inventaryo, kanina ko po tinatanong, after 2 weeks po, bakit naging 121 pesos ang average ng diesel? Meron pa po tayong 46 days.
Mr. Chair, yung inventory is not pre-war lang. Kasi may mga deliveries after the commencement.
Yun ang sinasabi po nila.
Apa.
Yun po yung
We
sinasabi
monitored
nila.
it also, Mr. Chair.
Ngunit, sabi ko nga po sa inyo, kung kinukuha po nila ay yung supply sa sinasabi kong mga tangke na nasa Singapore, kwentado ko na po, kung gusto po nila CIF na lang para iwasan na natin yung sinasabing insurance. Mura lang po yung insurance, hindi po ganun kalaki yun eh. CIF, ang ibig po sabihin, yung pong vessel ng Petronas o kaya vessel ng Rotterdam, sila na po ang pupunta kakargahan ng mga tangke sa Pilipinas. Kwentado ko na po yung presyo, hindi po ganun kamahal. 28, ano ba ito? 29 point, sabihin na natin 30 pesos per liter po, Rotterdam Refinery, Singapore.
Yes, sir.
Idagdag na po natin ang napakarami pong local added costs. Ayun, VAT, 2% CME, BIR, marking, excise tax, 12% input VAT, SGS survey, broker's fee, storage, importation, 15 pesos and 51 cents po ito. So pag pinagsama po ito, 45 pesos and 35 cents lang per liter. Ngayon po, yung SRP nila, kung tawagin po nila ito, passion price, 50 pesos, may kita pa po siyang halos 5 piso per liter. So ang tinatanong ko po, paano nangyari, kung saan po ba nila kinuha? Paano nangyari na imbes na manatili na sa, let's say, 55 pesos, paano po naging 121 pesos?
Mr. Chair, ang calculations namin has been the same since based on the industry practices, considering it's deregulated, walang kontrol ng gobyerno. So what we have been practicing with the oil companies on estimating their increases is based on replacement cost, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, ako po, naintindihan natin yung deregulated po yung oil industry. Pero kung ganito naman po kalaki, na 2 weeks pa lang, from 55 to 121 pesos, baka naman po kailangan nating usisain. Baka yung sinasabi po yung practices, baka kailangan naman po siguro nating revisuhin o i-revisit natin yung practices na yun. Wala naman po sigurong masama. Paano po ninyo nakuwenta yung 121 pesos? O sasabihin nila, Madam Secretary, based on our practices, naniwala na po tayo sa ganung salita lang. Paano po yung mga datos na pinakikita ko sa inyo ngayon?
Apo, Mr. Chair, will review the submissions, but actually halos every day na namin chine-check yung mga submissions nila, chine-check namin, and according to the current accounting practice, nakaka-follow, but we will review and submit kung ano yung mga findings.
Siguro po,
namin, Mr. Chair.
pinakamaganda, Mr. Chair, tawagin natin po yung mga major players, maski na po yung mga small players. Saan po ninyo kinukuha ang ating imported, ini-import na langis?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Actually, meron kaming reports niyan on where, saan galing ang mga supplies nila. Different countries, mostly here in Southeast Asia. It's China, South Korea, Singapore, Taiwan, Malaysia, Japan, Brunei, Hong Kong, Thailand, India, Vietnam. Pero iba diyan hindi na nagde-deliver, pero most of them are still delivering, Mr. Chair.
Po ako medyo nagtataka, Mr. Chair. Bakit po tayo nakikipag-usap sa South Korea saka sa China? Nandun po yung mga tangke sa Singapore. Mas malapit po tayo ron eh. Bakit hindi po yun ang tingnan natin? Kahit na po ngayon, makikita po natin magkano yung FOB price sa Rotterdam tank sa Singapore. Ito po, FOB, $570 per metric ton. Kinuwenta ko na po eh. Kung kukunin nyo po sa Petronas, kanino ko pa po sinasabi sa inyo, CIF, 640 per metric ton. So paano po lalayo itong mga figures na ito? Bakit po hindi sila kumuha sa Singapore? Bakit tayo kumukuha sa South Korea? Bakit po tayo pumupunta hanggang pati po yung Latin America po, gusto pa nating puntahan at ang Amerika? Siguro po, Madam Secretary, total nakakausap niyo naman si President Trump. Sabi mo, ikaw naman na nagpasimula nito. Pwede ba yung oil mo na nanggagaling sa Alaska, bigyan mo naman kami? Secretary.
Yes,
Ikaw naman kamo nagpasimula nito. Wala namang kaming kinalamanan dito eh. O titingnan mo ngayon, nagkakahirap-hirap tayo ng kung paano natin sasagutin lahat itong mga pinagtatatanong natin ngayon.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we will inform the oil companies and kasi ito nga because of the
Checkin po natin, ma'am, kasi
yes, Mr. Chair.
itatanong lang natin, bakit hindi po kayo kumukuha diyan sa mga tangki sa Singapore? Ito pala yung presyo per metric ton. Saan po ba kayo kumukuha? Baka naman po ang sinasabi sa inyo, dumidirekta sila sa Dubai, hindi na po kami makakuha ngayon kasi po 100% po ng aming inangkat, dadaan po kami sa Hormuz. Bakit po sila magpapakasakit pumunta sa Hormuz? Nasa Singapore nga lang ang pinag-uusapan natin. Ito po yung sinasabi ko. Meron po ba tayong crisis o wala? Kasi po, kung ito masasagot nila, malalaman natin kung ang crisis na ito is self-inflicted o kaya baka hindi naman totoo ito. Kasi po may data po eh.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I-recheck namin based on kunin namin but this is just our values are pegged on the international market and it's based on the accounting practices they have. Ang how we come up with our computations has always been kung ano po ang nasa market sa international, but we will recheck po and compare to the data that you have, Mr. Chair, para we can check with the oil companies also why they are not getting from Singapore or not all of them, no? Kasi sa kanila may Singapore din pero may iba-iba ring countries, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I will not belabor this. Ang gusto ko lang pong sabihin, sana po, kapag sinabi sa inyo po yung current industry practices, reviewin po natin. Kasi meron naman po tayong kaparaanan para i-review natin yung mga datos nila. Halimbawa po, yung shipping cost, FOB ito, 1,500 or about per metric ton ito. Sa Makatwid, lilitaw po rito mga $15 per metric ton. Kung CIF naman po, wala na yon. Ito, lilitaw na lamang po yung $640 dollars per metric ton. Yung MAPS, ito po yung mean of Platts Singapore, ito $1.71 lang. For the record, Mr. Chair, ibibigay ko po sa kanila itong mga datos na ito para makatulong po pa kung paano po i-analyze natin ito eh. Huwag po tayong nakadepende na lamang sa sasabihin nila. Samantalang pwede naman po tayong magtanong. Ito po, kinuha ko lang po doon sa mga kaibigan nating industry players sa Singapore. Maliwanag naman po na at pina-check ko rin po, nagkakatugma naman po. Kaya hindi ko maintindihan paano po nangyari after 2 weeks, 121 pesos ang isinikad ng presyo mula sa 55. Hindi ko po masyadong maintindihan kung paano po nanahimik tayong lahat, hindi man lang natin kinu-question, hindi man lang natin ni-review. Pwede po nating pag-usapan industry players, bakit po naging 120, bakit hindi naging 56 na lang, or 57 or 58? Bakit po lumundag sa napakalaki? 120% po ang sinikad po ng presyo. Hindi man lang tayo nag-initiate po ng pagtatanong. Salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Next, Senator Lauren, and thank you, Senator, for joining us again. I know that you have a lot of good insights and suggestions. So, maraming
Thank
salamat.
you very much, Mr. Chair, for convening this very important crisis committee hearing. And yes, I came from the BARM Parliament Forum and Senator Mig Subiri is there. Yes, I have a question for the DOE based on the pronouncements today. The DOE announced today that it is spending 20 billion pesos to buy 2 million barrels of diesel. But it was said in the hearing earlier, I was monitoring, that it's now 12 billion for 1 million barrels now that we are in a crisis. So pag yung 2 million barrels, so 24 billion, instead of having built a reserve before the crisis. So that's a fact. This came from the monitoring of the hearing and press statements today. the same 2 million barrels would have only cost 10 billion pesos instead of 24 billion because the DOE failed to build the buffer stock. The government needs an additional 14 billion on our oil stocks because we seemingly, correct me if I'm wrong, did not plan ahead. Other ASEAN governments, namely Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, it's a standard practice for them to stockpile oil even at a time when we are not in crisis, but the DOE did not and only started stockpiling oil when we are already in a crisis, unlike our ASEAN neighbors. So may I hear from the DOE what is the answer that we're scrambling now to buy emergency stocks at more than double the price than we would have paid before? Buying in an emergency, of course, costs more. Doble ang presyo. Bakit tayo hindi nag-stockpile gaya ng ating mga ASEAN neighbors at bakit ganito ang presyo ngayon? Obviously, because we are in a crisis. Why did the DOE fail in that respect? Or at least that is in my perspective.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Secretary.
Mr. Chair, due to the oil deregulation law, the stockpiling is now passed on to our private companies. That's how it has been practiced. Dahil sila na yung nagdinegosyo sa langis, doon din sila, DOE requires them a certain minimum level of stocks. DOE by itself does not have the funding for this because we only have 2.5 billion per year as budget. It is actually now very expensive for if we do a stockpiling of 1 million barrels, good enough for 5 days, it's about 12 billion. We have the facility given by DBM for 20 billion. We are envisioning na hindi naman kailangan 24 kasi pagdating niyan, kung meron tayong oil companies na may kulang na, then we can have them access the stocks para paikot-ikot lang siya. And this is in addition to hopefully that the oil companies are able to stock also their purchases. So ginagawa rin na nila yan. They're doing purchases and we have checked with them. They have confirmed incoming deliveries this week and next week, and they're working on their deliveries for April, Mr. Chair.
Maliwanag bang inaamin ng DOE na hindi tayo, Philippine government, DOE, sabi mo na maski deregulated tayo, urging at least the private sector in preparation for any potential crisis, hindi talaga nag-stockpile at ginagawa niyong dahilan ay dahil deregulated tayo. At sinasabi nyo, pagpalitan nyo yung batas, kung balik sa regulasyon or regulated, ay kaya natin mag-stockpile. Yun ba ang ginagawa niyong dahilan?
Mr. Chair, we haven't stockpiled. The government itself hasn't stockpiled for decades already. Ngayon,
I'm not saying government. When I say tayo, whole of government ito, deregulated, at least may constant coordination and
Wait lang mga boss, kung nakaabot na kayo sa part ng video na to, baka gusto nyo munang mag-subscribe sa bago nating YouTube channel. Doon na kasi tayo mag-a-upload ng mga reaction videos. Nakapin sa comment section ang link. I-click nyo lang para makapag-subscribe. Pag nakapag-subscribe na kayo, i-comment nyo lang ang location nyo para ma-shoutout ko kayo pag nag-upload na tayo doon ng video. Tara, tuloy na natin to.
meeting with the private sector so any potential crisis, just like our ASEAN neighbors, may buffer stock na safe. We're buying now at more than double what we could have bought for 10 billion because we did not stockpile. So I want to understand, is it all to be blamed because of the oil deregulation law enacted decades ago or dahil hindi naisip ng DOE and it failed in trying to anticipate possible crisis? It's a simple question. You don't need the technical experts.
Mr. Chair, because of the oil deregulation law and also the privatization of this industry, the burden has shifted to the private. Now, the private, minomonitor po namin yan every week on their inventory. The requirement is actually 15 days. 15 days is just good enough para buffer for 2 weeks, pero hindi mahirap din i-increase because of the capacity of their storage and also the price of the product. Kaya doon po nakapeg sa 15 days more or less. Pero now, lucky enough, they have enough for 3 times that, Mr. Chair.
Is stockpiling an act of regulation, or is it just a matter of prudent planning? Hindi naman yan parang naghihimasok tayo sa pribadong negosyo at gagawin natin dahilan ang oil deregulation law at tikom ang bibig at nakagapos ang gobyerno dahil ang batas ginawa 20 years ago. Hindi, pagplano yan eh. Pagsasangguni eh. Pag-uusap eh. Para ano man ang krisis, kaya nga surprise yung nangyari kung tayo ay nakikipag-ugnayan gaya ng ibang mga bansang binanggit ko sa ASEAN, ay hindi tayo masyadong gipit, which brings me to the statement made earlier, which I monitored. Ano ba yung sabi? Tagtuyot? Ano yun? Ano yung sinabi dito? Ano yung sinabi dito? Nasaan yun? We could run dry. Yes. I heard it. So because number one, hindi naghanda ang DOE at ang ginagawa niyong dahilan ay ang deregulation law, at dahil hindi tayo nag-stockpile dahil sabi nyo hindi nyo gawain yan, na sa aking paningin ay hindi yan paghihimasok sa pribadong negosyo kung hindi prudent planning. Tapos sinabi ng DOE, we could actually run dry. Tagtuyot, mauubusan, ilan na lang. Paliwanag po ano ang ibig sabihin. Akin na yung salitang yon. Ano ba yung sinabing? Tsaktong sinabi. We will run dry. The worst case is that our country runs dry. Okay, sabihin natin, sa 110 million Filipinos, DOE, Secretary, the worst case is the country will run dry. Pakipaliwanag po ang tagtuyot sa sambayan ng Pilipino para po kami maintindihan namin ang paghahandang dapat gawin. Kung ganyan po ang sinasabi ng Department of Energy, hindi pa ba yan krisis? Ayaw pa ba talagang yugyugin ang mga utak ng mga tao sa gobyerno para tanggapin na tayo'y nasa isang krisis? At sinasabi na that we will run dry. Pakipaliwanag po para maintindihan, mapondohan, nandiyan ang chair ng finance, para ang ibang ahensya ng gobyerno ay maghanda pa at masyado pang gipitin ang belt tightening sa paghahanda. We want to understand. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair. The running dry means we run out of fuel and of gasoline and
Yes,
diesel.
yes, obviously. Teka po. English po yung sinabi nyo, sinalita nyo yon translated sa Filipino. Maaari sigurong karaya kung gusto nyo. Ibig ko sabihin paliwanag, hindi po translation. What I mean, what I want the DOE to say is the implications. What does running dry mean in terms of the farmer and the fisher folk and the jeepney driver and all of those in the lower income and middle income, all of us? What are the implications insofar as agriculture, insofar as transport sector, nandiyan ang DOTR, insofar as what are your action plans? Because you said it, not us. The country will run dry. Kung tayo'y mauubusan na ng langis na nagpapatakbo ng ating ekonomiya, gusto namin marinig ni Chair kanina pang 9:00, anong action plan na hindi motherhood statement? Thank you, Chair.
Secretary Hearing.
Mr. Chair, I can only speak for DOE that but the impact on the industries would be with the other agencies. And sa atin po as our impact would be the fuel side on the gas stations and which affects the transport, and then on the power side. The power side, we fortunately we are only using diesel at 3% in our energy mix. So ang most affected dyan would be Napocor, Mr. Chair, the islands, no? So that's why our chair, our president has been hard at work in coming up with alternatives in case different scenarios. On the fuel side, we are currently the effect would be transportation cannot run. We are doing different scenarios to do avoiding that, working with DFA, working with the different governments, different countries, different oil companies para siguraduhin po that our orders are consistent, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that statement, DOE. The worst case is that our country runs dry. Tagtuyot ang Pilipinas base sa fuel. The implications, according to the DOE, transport will not run. Kung yan po ang mangyayari, isa lang yan sa implikasyon. Ano po ang action plan na mararamdaman po ng taong bayan na pwede niyong ilahad sa komiteng ito pag mangyari yung worst case scenario that our country runs dry? Ang tubig din, kulang. World Water Day nung isang araw, isa pang issue yan, tubig naman. The water will run dry sa Pilipinas. The country will run dry. Worst case scenario, ayon sa DOE, and the transport sector will not run. Having said that, may this representation, Mr. Chair, ask the DOE, ano po ang inyong mungkahi at action plan? Dapat, worst case scenario palagi ang ating mindset. Ganon kami sa national security sa military. Palaging war gaming, worst case scenario. If the transport sector is not secure and will not run because the country will run dry, ano ang action plan ng DOE maliban sa sinabi nyo kaninang carpooling, work from home, Zoom with mayors? Ano pa po?
Mr. Chair. On the inventory level, Mr. Chair, we're doing different scenarios and different contingency plans. Ano? Ang first off sa ngayon is we are talking to all the oil companies constantly and checking their inventory, making sure that meron tayong enough. Right now, even though we have enough for the next month, we are already working on the next batch. Kaya kinakausap na rin namin yung mga ministers ng iba't ibang bansa and looking and PNOC, which hasn't been done before. PNOC, a government corporation, is also looking for alternative routes other than those getting from Middle East. So, yun po yung isang intervention namin na talagang pinupush makakuha, and PNOC is there just in case it gets too expensive na rin, or it is getting expensive. We are willing to buy as long as there is enough supply in the Philippines. So sinisecure po yung supply. That's our first and main objective, no? Next, now if it's depleting for some reason, we also have different alternatives, and we are already working on this. We're supposed to have a meeting today with for biodiesel or biofuels, to utilize biofuel both for generation of power and as well as for transportation. It's either increase the production, or if they don't have enough raw materials, if we need raw materials, we're still assessing what is the volume that's needed for generation and what's needed for for the cars, Mr. Chair, kasi there are vehicles that cannot take in 20%, for example, in the blend. So, inaaral po rin ngayon and we're coming it with the volume that will be needed. So, piniprepare na lang namin. The other intervention that we did just recently is, just in case, kung wala na talaga mga Euro 4, Euro 2 can help in the generation of power. That's also an option. And ang other, and then we're also ramping up the renewable energy. Meron pong mga projects na papasok pa lang December, so we're helping them. Target is to have them on grid na by April para pumasok na sila para mabawasan yung pressure sa fuel or kung hopefully matanggal siya sa power, doon na lang siya sa transportation. So that's what some of the interventions we are doing now para hindi po mangyari po yung worst case scenario natin.
I'd like to quote the president today in an interview with Bloomberg. Several countries have already told our airlines they cannot fuel their aircraft, so they have to carry fuel there and back. Long haul is going to be a much more serious problem. These are the president's statements today, and it seems to be at odds, hindi po tugma sa sinabi po ng DOE na sinabi, but they have assured us they're okay. Ayon po sa DOE, we met them because we wanted to know if they need help in procuring, but they have assured us they're okay. Garin said. Ito po yung sa balita ngayon lang. Ayon po sa Pangulo ay may problema, long haul is going to be much serious problem. They have to carry fuel, but the DOE said they're okay. Kaya siguro walang sense of urgency. Apparently, ang iba sa gobyerno kasi we're okay. May I just be enlightened, please? Ano po ang tamang statement at tayo ba ay A-okay? O tayo ba ay posibleng mag-run dry? Ano ba ho talaga ang statement?
Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you, Mr. Chair.
Our consultation is on their fuel, Mr. Chair. We have checked, we met last night at around 6 o'clock with Petron because they're the supplier, Cebu Pacific and PAL. They have a combination of suppliers, Petron, and also they import on their own. As of yesterday, their inventory is around 38 days. 38 days, and they have confirmed. We asked them if they want us to help them procure additional fuel for the next month, meaning on May. They have already secured confirmation of their next order. I think it was South Korea, no? And what we will do is just follow it up with the G2G dialogue also to make sure that it comes in. So they have told us that as far as their fuel here is concerned, sufficient sila for the next 2 months, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. President, Mr. Chair, ang gusto ko sanang marinig mula sa executive, pag ang DOE ay nagsabi na the country will run dry at tinanong natin sa ating crisis committee ano ang implications nito at ano yung action plan, ang gusto kong marinig sana, impact if we run dry. Ano? Transport stops. Ano ngayon ang action plan? DOTR. Food supply is disrupted. Ang ngayon ang action plan? DA, DTI. Emergency services stalled. Ang ngayon ang gagawin ng DOH at iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno. Prices spike as they are doing now. Ano ngayon ang ginagawa nyo? DA at DTI. Agriculture gets hit. It's already hit. And farmers and fisher folks, despite being half of our population, only, tama ba yun? 44,000 lang mabibigyan ng ayuda. Ano ba yun? GDP declines, anong gagawin? DepDev, DOF, etc. Ano ang gagawin natin? Health risks, wala ba ang DOH dito? Ganun sana ang ating gustong marinig mula sa gobyerno, sa executive, sa pagpulong na ito. Mula tayo ng alas 9, hindi masyadong mga motherhood statement. But having said that, I don't think they're prepared for that. Perhaps in the second hearing, they could be more prepared and not come late. It was also stated that the DOE is trying to cap profits. To cap profits. So pwede pala eh. Diba? Sinabi ba nyo yon? To cap profits. Why just now? Ano pa ang natuklasan sa nakaraang 4 na linggo ng DOE? Ano ba ang usual na margins ng mga kumpanya? At paano magkaka-adjust? Assuming you have the answer to that, kung di sila handa, Mr. Chair, ay maari nilang ibigay sa atin sa pangalawang hearing or after today kasi gusto natin aralin yung statement na they are looking to cap profits. Sino yung they? The private sector. O, ano ang natuklasan ng DOE sa inyong pagpupulong at investigasyon? Ano ba ang mga margin? We have to understand all that, and this applies to the queries of Senator Marcoleta. Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
We don't have the power to cap profits, Mr. Chair, right now. That the discussion was about what are the, I think, Honorable Senator Ontiveros was asking what could be possible changes that we would suggest in the amendment or overhaul of the oil deregulation law. The current system is there are several parts of the supply chain until it gets to the gas stations, and at this there is a difference, a huge difference between a gas station in, let's say, in a town in Mindanao and in NCR, and that's what we want to explore the possibility of that in times of emergency or in times of like this, there has to be a certain limitation para hindi masyadong mabigat po sa mga consumers natin.
I go back to the airplane question. Kasi binabasa ko yung news. Wina-warning ni Pangulo na grounding planes due to fuel shortage is a possibility. Pero sabi naman ng DOE, hindi raw. So gusto kong malaman ang totoo. Kung accurate ba yung sinabi ni Presidente that airplanes will be grounded or not? Huwag na yung masalimuot na sagot. Magaground ba? At ito ba'y distinct possibility? Maski ba distinct por posibilidad? Kasi sinabi ni Pangulo na maaring the planes will be grounded. Pero sabi naman ng DOE, hindi, it's okay. So, problema ba? May posibilidad ba? Or wala naman palang problema, iparating nyo sa Office of the President. Maraming gusto kong maintindihan dahil iba yung nababasa ko sa news, iba yung naririnig ko sa hearing, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, last night, it was 6 o'clock, they confirmed to us that meron siyang fuel. So if it's because of fuel, it will not be grounded. Maybe on the price or a commercial decision on their part. Pero yung availability dito sa Pilipinas, meron pong fuel yung jet fuel yung ating mga airlines.
Okay. It just gave me more confusion, Mr. Chair, because I'm reading the President's statements, at least based on the news, grounding planes due to fuel shortage in several news reports. But the DOE is in our hearing saying that it's not true. So we leave it at that. Hindi ko pagpipilitan yung nababasa ko online. I am just confused. I will ask my questions, Mr. Chair, with the other agencies. I can proceed now. Yeah.
Proceed.
Thank you. Umalis na ba yung iba? DTI? Okay, DBM. We started with this lahat ng plano, pero wala tayong nakitang plano pa na mga ahensya eh. Yun ang sinabi ni Sen Kiko kanina, yung chair, parang motherhood. Saan kukunin ang pondo para lumaki ang subsidy na binibigay po? Sa GAA 2025, sa continuing appropriations, at sa GAA 2026 na 2.5 months pa lang at alam natin naka-FLR lahat.
Ngayon, ikaw bilang Pilipino, ano ang masasabi mo at reaksyon sa balitang ito? Mag-iwan ka ng komento mo sa ibaba at atin pong babasahin isa-isa.